Welcome to the Elegant Life. My name is Erin Kurt, and I am bringing to you another episode in a beautiful series that I'm doing that is all about women who have chosen to use their gifts, their talents, their natural interests to go out and do work that fulfills them and also serves somebody out there in the world that really can use their service and talents. So I'm bringing on a very beautiful soul today, and I'm going to introduce her as KidTime StoryTIme because my daughter is the one who introduced me to this lovely woman. As many of you know, that my kids are doing homeschooling, and we didn't want all of their downtime to be filled with internet junk food. So I said, you have to find educational things, and my daughter, bless her soul, she found KidTime StoryTIme, and I think you are amazing. Yes. So to be very fair and honest, I really don't know that much about you, and I think that's even better. So I'm going to really let you take over. Tell us what you do and then how you got started on all that to inspire women who, maybe want to start their own YouTube channel, or even just give them the inspiration that, you know what, if she can do it, I can go pursue my dreams as well.
Well, of course they can. I mean, to me, that's not even a question. That I tell them should be irrelevant. They should know that somewhere deep inside. But I mean, I'm glad to tell them that they can. My name is Eileen. That's all you're going to get because I don't go by my last name at all. But on the channel, I am known as storyteller. The kids know me as storyteller. They've sort of clued into my name. A couple of hints have been dropped along the way. So some of them know. So I'm all right with telling you that. So Erin, you may call me Eileen. You may call me storyteller. And I started the YouTube channel called KidTime StoryTIme about, it'll be 6 years coming up now at the beginning of 2021. And I was inspired by my nephews, my young nephews, who I would spend a great deal of time with. And they come from a divorced home and working mom, dad's far away, and I'd spend a great deal of time with them. And I started reading bedtime stories to them when they would come over. And I thought they were, frankly, because they're sophisticated New York, New Jersey children, I thought they were gonna be all like, well, that's her babies, dear. And I was stunned to see how mesmerized they were and asking me, can you read us another one? Can you? I would make them up. Can you, what last night? Okay, I fell asleep in the part where the dragon breathe fire on the kid, and I'm like, okay, where we were. Okay, so then I would pick up the story and this would become multi-day story arcs. So I started this as a passion project. When I saw them, I thought, I'm gonna do this online on YouTube so that they can, when I'm not with them, they can see me. And then if other kids tune in, because I'm sure that there are other kids who need this, it'll be great.
Now, were you working? Did you have a regular job before, while you just said, hey, I'm going to start this? Or like, talk to us a little bit about the starting, because that's sometimes the hardest part for people.
That's a complex question. And I know it's going to be complex for a lot of people because there's not that one answer. To be short and get to the point, I did not have a regular job.
Okay.
I was at the time living in New York, and I was acting, singing, doing musical theater. But I would go away and do shows. So I would do the stories in advance and leave them for then my husband to edit and put up on the channel. So I would be working months in advance to keep it going because it was something that was absolutely not paying a single bill. Nothing. But it was something I believed in so much that it provided its own energy source. Even though I was pounding the pavement in New York, carrying a 45-pound backpack and running around and dealing with, all the disappointments that come with it and the difficulties and the weather but it was just something about it that I couldn't stop, even though it wasn't paying off. Like literally, it wasn't paying off, but it didn't matter to me because I wasn't doing it for that reason. And that just kept me going. Now, before that, to backtrack, to give you a fuller picture, Before I did that, I was a television reporter. So I have a very, I know who I am. And I think that's essential for everyone out there. If you're listening and you're looking and wondering, if you can get any nugget of anything, you have to know who you are and what you want and be honest about it. You have to be honest with yourself about what you want. And I knew that I wanted to somehow make a difference. Sort of a chronic do-gooder. I'm just one of those Pollyanna people. That was my thing. I really wanted to make things better for people. So as a TV reporter, that's what I did. I was a consumer reporter and I helped people with problems and injustices, knocking down bad guys' doors and that kind of thing. I'm a singer and I'm an actor. I was born doing that as well. So then I got off that path because I somewhat of a risk taker. I mean, you should appreciate that. Look at all the things you do. Flung myself into the unknown because I felt I had a calling to go perform and fulfill that part of myself, to perform and to act. I'm like, why would God give me a talent he did not mean for me to use? So I went off and I did that. And then over time, my dreams kept morphing. And that's the part that is frightening to anyone, because you think you're doing what you wanted to do and you did, but then suddenly there's something else. There's a new dream.
There are so many little nuggets that I want to put in. You are saying things perfectly. Okay, let me think if I can remember. Because with this series, there's certain teachings that I want to give women in particular. One is this thing that you just mentioned. You were given natural talents and abilities, and that just drove you. And the way that society has been programming us is that you decide what you want to be and you be it forever. And when you get to a point and you realize, oh my God, why doesn't this make me fulfilled anymore? Why am I feeling this calling to do something different? We almost don't feel like we should, because don't you just have one job forever? And I think the message I always give the women who follow me is, we are in constant expansion, constant. So when you get that new desire, that new nudge, that new urge, which many women are getting now to do their own thing, follow it. It doesn't have to turn out to be the forever. It just will give you more expansion on a certain area that you're going to need for maybe the next expansion, right?
Right. The next going to take you to the next step.
Yes. And when you said that, I just, it wasn't paying the bills, but it was just something that I cared about and that I just wanted to do for people. I'm talking right now a lot about feminine energy, because this new age that we're going to be coming into, the feminine is coming back in the picture. And characteristics of feminine energy are giving, not for a result, almost just giving. And the way things work is that things always come back to them. Whereas the masculine is, I want to do this, so I get that result, and that. Not that that's bad. It's just, that's their path. Our path is to just do something out of service, and that you're giving, and then it will all come back. That's how it works for the feminine. So to have that trust in the nature of what feminine energy is, and just go out and do it without thinking and planning and controlling and, this kind of a thing.
It's like trying to do good. And if you don't get the result you want, what do? You stop doing good? No.
Thank you.
You keep doing the right thing. You keep doing the good thing. You keep doing the giving, doing whatever it is. And of course, you have goals. We're all yin and yang. I have masculine energy. You have it. We all have it. There are definitely things and, milestones that I want to hit. But at the same time, I can't be driven by that because I have no control. So
that's it. Not being driven by it. There's some women who have just been, we've been conditioned, right, to live in this masculine energy of, well, I'm going to do this and I do care about it, but I want this. I speak from experience. I just did a series about my whole journey of how I used to push and work and fight. But we all have to do things. Obviously, that's the masculine part of us. But this giving energy, it's like you use the perfect word. That's the motivation, right? And then from that motivation, that keeps you going. But if you do it only for a result, that's why women burn out. That's why they get frustrated. That's why they stop. That's why they don't allow themselves to do things. And when they realize that's not their innate energy, they can let themselves off the hook and just flip and go do it.
Yes.
So what would you say brings you the most joy about what you do?
Oh, Erin, it's such a joyful life that I get to live. I
Oh.
I don't even know where to start. There's so much joy. I get messages from kids all the time, asking me for advice, telling me their plans, their dreams, their cat's name. I get beautiful messages from parents. I mean, things like, oh, you saved my quarantine. And then other ones like, I got this one that really like, ugh, the other day from a father who was looking for something to help his children cope with he and his wife's divorce, and found a book on KidTime StoryTIme that I read about divorce and played it for himself. He wanted to screen it and see if it would apply to his children. And it did. And he played it for them. And he wrote to thank me because he said that it not only helped his children in such a difficult time, but it actually brought them happiness and joy and so much comfort. And I mean, you just can't put a
I mean,
price on it.
what's better than that? Yeah.
Yeah. And I have children who tell me, oh, you help me go to sleep. Yeah, I have children who tell me, you always make me smile. I get excited, to go to school because I know I'm going to see you. And
Oh.
and I have one that wrote to me recently also, who told me that they suffered with depression issues, but that every time they came to the channel, they felt so much joy and encouragement and hope. And they thanked me. And I just, oh, it's hard to put into words just the depth of
God,
gratitude that I have for getting to do this.
that's just, oh, I have chills all over. I mean, seriously, I'm left speechless. What else do you need? It's so cyclical, isn't it? Because you get so much joy and you're giving so much joy, and then you get so much joy in there. Like, it's just what a beautiful, beautiful vortex of energy that's being created. It's gorgeous. Okay, so we've made it seem like all dreamy and everything, but as we know, there can be, even when you are experiencing joy in whatever you're going for, your passion, that there can be obstacles. So let's be real about maybe some technical obstacles, mental obstacles, any obstacles that you had to overcome even at the beginning or during. Just share some of those kind of things.
Was an act of just dogged persistence, and believing in it, even though I had nothing really to tell me it was working. I was having my butt handed to me on a platter by other channels. You're trying to do the right thing, and you figure it, and if you build it, they will come. But you're building, and then you're building, and they're not coming, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is taking. I don't, why do they go with someone? What, that reader is so boring. I mean, it sounds like a bad thing to say, but I'm a competitive person too. I'm positive and I'm a good person, but I'm also a competitive, fierce person at the same time. It's like, what? They're boring. Why are they getting all the subscribers? Or they're not, so I could never really fully understand why, we were not hitting. It's like, I feel like we're doing something so much better than everyone. It's like you feel like you're
Mhm.
superior, but everybody's buying the old one. I don't know. So I mean, there's a lot of competition. Um, Early on in the process, maybe less than 2 years in, we got shut down. Our entire channel got shut down. We were dead in the
Why?
got shut down. So we got shut down because I was doing what everyone else was doing who reads on YouTube. I was just going, picking a book and I was reading it. And that was it. And I would, in the description, I would write who the author was and all the stuff, to give credit. But that was reading without copyright permission. One major publishing house shut me down because I had a bunch of their books because they're major. They've bought everybody under the sun. So I didn't even know I was reading some of their books. I was just reading books, figuring it was all okay because I was doing what everybody else was doing, just reading whatever. And it wasn't okay. And they found me, and I was for the longest time, I was wondering, Erin, why me? I am small compared to everyone else. There are so many more popular people than me. Why me? For God's sakes, how is this even possible? So for 7 weeks, our channel was dark. There was nothing there.
Wow. Wow.
This is where the doggedness kicks in. Because if you feel strongly about something, you don't just throw in the towel and walk off. And I was not going to give it up. Even though it was making me no money, I was not giving just, what can you say when you are doing what you think you want to be doing? You just keep on doing it,
Right.
and I negotiated with them for weeks to get them to basically return my channel to me. So
Wow.
I had to, remove all their stories and show it and do all these things. And then they rescinded their complaint, and then YouTube turned, basically went back in the back room and pushed the button and let me be seen again. I had taken a huge hit though. I was already small potatoes, and now I was like a tater tot. I lost tons of subscribers, and then I lost a lot of the strength of the channel because in YouTube world, if you delete a bunch of things, that's deleterious to your channel. So I, start crawling back up again, doing this thing, and I will tell you, since we're talking to a lot of business women out there, I will tell you that I only made enough money. My husband and I, because it's a team effort, only made it enough money for the first time to cover the rent at the end of last year for the first time.
Wow.
And that was almost 5 years in. And then it dropped
Okay.
again. So then again, it was not even close again because it's one of these things. It was like, oh no, just okay. Never mind. So, but then when the pandemic hit, it turns out that I didn't know I had been training all this time, preparing, honing our skills, honing my skills as a storyteller. My husband, as the technical genius behind the scenes, had honed his skills as an editor. And we had learned so much along the way that by the time the pandemic hits, suddenly everybody needed us. And everybody found us, like your daughter. And it's been incredible. People are saying, "Oh, I'm so glad I found you. Because of this, I found you. And now you're part of my life. You're part of our bedtime routine. You're part of our breakfast. I'm part of, snack time in schools." And gosh,
Wow.
it's wonderful to now be there when you're needed and to be doing something. I mean, listen,
In one of the most important times in history ever.
in time, and here we are, and it's free. I'm not selling you anything. It's free. If you want to buy the book, go ahead and buy the book, but I'm not making the money from buying the book, from you buying it. It's something that I'm just offering from my heart. And one of the questions that I saw you were going to ask me, I'm going to answer it ahead of you asking me.
Okay. All right.
Because it goes to this whole thing. If you're looking for what to do with yourself, or do I make the move? Whatever you do, especially if it's a YouTube channel, but I really think it applies to everything. is to be authentic,
Oh, yeah.
because the camera doesn't lie. I've been on TV and now I'm on YouTube, and the camera does not lie. You're not, you can't be acting that much, you know? And people start to see through the acts. Um, the things that people respond to, if you're specifically interested in doing YouTube, is that you be somebody very authentic, because people see it and they connect to that. You don't have to have the energy level I have. I happen to be like this just naturally. And people think that you have to be like, hey guys, la 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 la. And it's not that at all. I don't do the hey guys. Well, I don't do that either. I am talking to one person at a time. That's always what you have to be thinking, not
Yeah.
crowds, not a freaking amphitheater. Talk to the one person there who's watching you in the
Exactly.
room by themselves, and be real. There is an audience for authenticity, whatever form it comes in, whether you're like a subtle person and you're like really fixated on making the perfect hair tie bows, and you're very meticulous, and you're sort of just, and some people might call you boring, but there are people who are going to be riveted to,
Totally.
you know,
Yeah.
you, you've seen
Yeah.
people like that, and they're like not big personalities, and yet you can't, they're so
So
real and they're
fun.
so good, and you're like watching them and thinking, I can never do that. But you have to be real.
Yes.
And I really
Just
do think
be
that
real.
that's everything, right? Don't you agree that that's for everything?
It is, because you're going to enjoy it so much more because you're just being you, you know, um, and that you're going to attract the right kind of watchers who are going to just adore you. You're not trying to make someone like you, so you have to be acting, putting a face on. That becomes exhausting. And
Acting,
some
if it
people.
doesn't work in life, if it doesn't work in real life to pretend to be somebody to be liked, why would it work on screen?
Exactly. And there's one thing that even a lot of very successful people that I have coached to say to me is, I'm always thinking I'm going to be found out, that I'm really maybe not so. And I think, look, if you're like you said, you know yourself. You own it. You actually have reverence for who you are, and you go ahead and you do that, then I don't think that you ever really have to worry about being found out, because
Oh,
you
that whole
just,
imposter syndrome.
yeah, and get the learning from that. Exactly. Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, that is great, because sometimes people see, even for me, this is why I just did this long series that I did about my whole journey, because people see my life now and they're like, and when I tell them, oh, it was not always elegant lifestyle. And they're like, I don't believe you. I can't even imagine. And then now that they've heard my story, they were like, wow. Like, it's not an accident that I live like I live now. And I feel the peace that I feel now, because I went on a journey and I was committed to expanding. So I think that's so important, that people don't always think, well, wow, she's got the successful YouTube channel and it's just always been grand. And because you're not going to share those kind of stories with the kids on the YouTube channel, so no one's going to know this backstory. So I think that's so important. Thank you for sharing that.
And I certainly don't want to make it seem like there haven't been struggles in my life. I mean, I've been around a while, even though I look incredibly young. But
Love it.
I've had struggles, you know, and I just feel like you're supposed to use that for fuel for the journey. I have fears, right? My biggest fear, my biggest, most horrible fear is a fear of failure. And when I was a TV reporter, talking about something you touched on earlier, that you study a thing and then you do the thing and then you're supposed to keep doing the thing, I kind of didn't want to keep doing the thing anymore. I felt a different calling. And I I mean, who leaves like a successful television career, and I had Emmy awards and I had a reputation in the industry already. Who leaves that to go sing and dance? I mean, that sounds like insanity. Even to me, that sounds like insanity. But I flipped the fear. And I said, are you afraid of leaving everything you've established to go do something crazy where you could just fall flat on your face? I was actually more afraid of being left behind, of not
Mm.
changing, staying right where I was, knowing that things would keep moving on without me. That other people would leave that were my friends, other things would change, management would come and go. Maybe I wouldn't. Suddenly, the fear of not doing it became greater than the fear of doing it.
That's
And
fantastic.
that's what powered me through the major change. And then again, when I'm not in New York anymore doing theater, now I'm in Los Angeles. And again, being able to uproot again and keep moving in a new direction that you never envisioned. Because listen, YouTube didn't exist when we were kids.
Yeah,
YouTube didn't exist when we were in college, you and I.
exactly.
So how could I dream of doing this? What I
Yeah.
dreamt of,
Yeah.
what I dreamt of was making a difference. I dreamt of writing. I dreamt of singing. I dreamt of this joyful Disney-esque life. And I had to keep taking these crazy leaps into the unknown, even though I'm just, people think I'm crazy, but now they don't. Now they think I'm just like super cool and like,
Oh,
wow,
exactly.
what a daredevil, what a risk taker. But those will mean dark days, because you're just not going to see the results and the accolades flying in and people knocking on your
Like
door.
that.
You know,
Yeah.
that's why doing something that you truly want to be doing on a daily basis becomes so important, because it's so much work, and it won't pay off right away.
Thank you for sharing that. So that actually kind of leads me to the very last question. And, you're going to keep expanding. So where does your soul feel that it wants to expand into now with this?
There were things I always wanted to accomplish, and then I would not be able to do it. And then I'd have another thing, and then I wouldn't be able to do it. And, and now, and everything just, I was crushed. I would be crushed, devastated.
Mm,
I just didn't matter what I did, didn't matter. The best person doesn't always win. The most hardworking one doesn't necessarily win. It's like people who know people, and it's people on the inside, and I don't know anyone on the inside of anywhere. And so I'm trying not to, now the next goals, and of course I have them, but I'm trying not to make them be like such a thing, because I know how crushed I get if I don't get the thing. But
got it. Got
I'm super happy right now. The growth has been beautiful. The response is just, this flow of love and positivity. Just, it's incredible. It's incredible. Like, occasionally I get that one bad email that you get online, right? It's just, I laugh at it because I'm like, who's this one person? You know?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have so much love that you're an unhappy person. But I do dream of continuing to expand. Like, I'm at 135,000 subscribers now. Like, I'm like, my next big one is 150,000. And then
Right.
it's gonna be blah, 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 500,000. I just want to keep on expanding this thing,
Good.
because I want it out there, And then, I mean, I would love to be like a Mr. Rogers. I would love to have a show, and be able to keep doing this thing where I'm reading, and then I'm singing, and I'm giving them all this stuff. And I mean, there's just so many possibilities. There's so much that we can do. And I know that kids need it. Now, if a TV show doesn't happen, psh, fine. It wasn't meant to be. Would I like it? Absolutely. Do I need it to happen? Not necessarily anymore. Because I've just become more flexible with what success can look like. For kids, TV is like TV, but TV is really YouTube for them.
That's such a great goal to have. I want things to, I mean, it's, yes, we can get specific. That's very masculine though, to say, well, okay, by third quarter, I want to, this. But what I talk about in the feminine way is to have a desire to expand and touch as many people as possible, living in as much joy and abundance as I can. That's the goal. And how that happens is up to you, God, universe, like for the best for everybody. I always, whenever I make an intention, I say this or something even better for the good of all concerned. And the good of all concerned includes me. I mean, there were times when I was in my masculine trying to push things, and I was so frustrated with things almost getting there and then being swiped away. Hindsight looking, that was not where I was supposed to go. That was not what I was supposed to do in that way. For my physical health, that would have exhausted me. I wouldn't have been able to be the mother I wanted to be, which is at the core of everything I want to be. So we can see hindsight. So isn't it better to say, this is my highest priority, and whichever way that is meant to be, I'm open, for the most abundance, for the most joy, for the most impact, to serve the most amount of people. And that's how I live my life now. And I am more successful than I've ever been, have more freedom in my life than I ever want to be, able to be the mother I want to be. And I'm not making business plans. I'm not setting goal dates, and I'm not writing 50,000 affirmations in 21 days. And, I'm living an elegant lifestyle, making elegant intentions. And that really feels peaceful and joyous and fulfilling to me. And it seems like that's where you're headed to. I just thank you so much, Eileen, for this.
I just want to say that I think that what you're doing is wonderful. I love the word elegant. It's not what I would apply to myself, but I think that you definitely embody that. I think that you're sending out so many positive messages that I hope people are receiving who need to, because you're really proposing that people be authentic and honest, and that starts with yourself, not trying to fit yourself into a box or meet an expectation.
Here's to the new energy of 2021 and beyond. And let's just keep spreading joy to the world. That's a great way to end this.
Yes.
Well, on that note, I just thank you so much again. And ladies, go for your dreams, your nudges, your desires. It might not be the ending point. It probably won't be, but it will keep taking you on a grand, fulfilling journey where you're truly using what you were created with. And that is purposeful. So on that note, go make it an elegant day, and I will see you next time.